Hi, everybody. Welcome to the SalesIntel show, The Pipeline Pioneer, where our goal is to help the community learn from the experts, from the practitioners, from the leaders as to how to generate an effective pipeline. As we know, pipeline is the heart and blood of any organization. And we at SalesIntel believe that generating pipeline is a team sport. You can't just give it to BDRs or marketing or AEs to go build a pipeline. It truly takes a village to build a pipeline that converts into revenue. Today, I'm excited to have Cesar with me on this call. Cesar, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Cesar, thank you for joining us. So to kick things off, why don't you tell our audience about you and how in your role do you impact the pipeline generation for your business?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, so I come from a sales and marketing background, over 35 years. Started off as an individual contributor and then went on from there, sales management, regional sales director, and trainer. And so I'm based here in San Francisco. And as far as the business itself, I think that you can see I go to market facts behind me. There's some numbers. I'm a sales enablement consultant at the same time, and I provide go to market services, more of done with you and done for you services. And essentially, we're drinking our own Kool-Aid. So the same service I provide to others, we're using for ourselves as far as go to market work that we're doing. B2B is all what I do in the US and Europe. And so that's overview of what, I don't know if you want to get into some of the details now, but that's an overview.
Yeah. So, one of the thing I would love your feedback on or for the audience is last year was tough, right? A lot of companies didn't hit their revenue goals. Pipelines were just not quite there. The pipelines that were there were not healthy. They didn't convert into revenue. And then couple that with the macroeconomic headwinds that, just elongated the sales cycle. And we all made lots of mistakes, right? So it was a perfect storm. Hindsight being 2020, when you look back, is there one thing that jumps out to say, you know what, I wish I'd done things differently? And what's the learning that you derive from that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think the learning that I did was for the last, I've been doing this since 2018. And so, but it took me a while to figure something out, and you're going to laugh at me. And the mistake I was making is that my business I was predominantly focused on pre-seed startups. And I do a lot of volunteer work. Even now, I'm on the deal flow committee. I'm a growth advisor in the deal flow committee of Bay Angels here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I was also a growth advisor at Startup Right and Level Up Ventures. So really is connecting, startups with, funders in hopes that when they get funding, they would be able to work together with me, right? And I just enjoyed working with them. I've been volunteering with startups and small business since 2007 at the Renaissance Center here in San Francisco, right? So, but I think the mistake, or I don't know if it's a mistake, it's just what just didn't work, is that my eggs were in one basket, and it was in the basket of pre-seed startups. Mm-hmm. And I think that not all pre-seed technology startup founders are appreciative of the work and challenges that go into go-to-market work, sales and marketing, because it's a bit of, where we have this product, we have this software, whatever it is, and they build it and they will come, and it doesn't necessarily work that way. And some people are more so than that, and some people are less than that. But for me, I think my business was a little bit more unstable because of the instability of working with startups that were not funded yet for pre-seed. Yep. So it just, hello. So, I said, well, maybe I should focus more on more stable businesses. So then my business would be more stable. I know it's not rocket science, but that's the shift I made. So then I moved up a little bit into more of the small mid-markets, because I've been targeting small mid-market companies and mid-market firms for small businesses. That's part of my model that I do in the US as well as in Europe. But I wasn't doing it for myself. And so I shifted it a bit And so it's made a change now where it's a little bit more stable as far as who my clients are.
That's great. So diversification, that's the lesson learned right here. Diversify your prospect list, right, and your customers. So that's great. Well,
Right.
new year is here, new budgets, new initiatives, new experiments. Is there anything in particular for 2024 when it comes to pipeline generation that you're excited about?
Yeah, I love trying different things. I love listening to what other folks are doing, and I've been hearing a lot of different go-to-market approaches, but I like testing and trying things to see what works. Because like you said, what may have worked before isn't. There's a lot of noise out there right now. And I'm reading that, well, that 57% number up there is basically, those folks that are not hitting quota. Well, I heard it's increased now to something like maybe 60 or 70%.
Yeah.
Right. And so what do we do? And so my focus is on pipeline. Really, my focus is on helping people with their sales pipeline, both generating it and increasing the closing of that as a sales enablement consultant. And so yeah, that's kind of like what I'm working on, and I'm testing different approaches to do that.
That's perfect transition to our next question here. I'm going to share my screen with you, Cesar.
Sure.
Let me know when you can see that.
I can.
All right. So as you said, pipeline comes from many channels. You're constantly testing different channels to see where to bring pipeline. Not only build the pipeline, but build a strong enough pipeline that converts into revenue, right? So in this exercise, you have 100 pennies here, right? And you have multiple channels through which companies generate pipeline. Your job is to figure out how best to allocate these 100 pennies across these channels such that at the end of the year, you have generated a pipeline that is robust to convert into revenue, right?
Sure.
So
This is actually more, it's not more challenging for me, but it's more interesting because we're talking about in my business. So
you can pick one of your marquee clients. Say, if you had
well,
100 pennies for your marquee clients, how would you invest these dollars?
it depends. That's why I was about to say it really depends on who the client is, because then it would shift depending on what we're working on. So I'm going to give myself my own business as an example. I think would be the easiest way to do. But again, the caveat is it doesn't necessarily mean that what I'm doing for my business is what I would do for your business or what we should do.
Sure.
It shifts depending on your ICP, right? Your ideal client persona you're targeting, the industry, et cetera, the market, right? And that's part of the analysis that I do. But anyway, so as far as your spending pennies, in my business, what we're doing and what we'll be testing is, so we have, well, it's not so much a product-led growth, it's more of like a service. I guess you could call it the product.
Yeah, your product, your service is your product, right?
Your service is your product. Yep, exactly. It's just like SalesIntel is, a service, right? And so I'm definitely putting, I would say, probably 40, was it 4 pennies there?
Yeah, 40 pennies. Yeah, each coin is 10 pennies.
Yeah. So excuse me. Yeah, I would say 4. We can put 4 in there because why? Because I have 4 different product offerings.
Okay.
So that's why I put 4 there. The other one is we're also working with, I'm trying to see here. Okay, not customer, not brand, not founder, not event. So we're starting to do more events. And that's part of what I was testing. So typically we're doing, I would say probably doing, I would put another 2 in there, or maybe even 3.
Okay, so make it 4.
No, just a total of 3 is fine.
Total of 3. Okay, so 3 on the product, yeah.
On the
events, yeah.
Yeah, those are LinkedIn events or LinkedIn Live is what I'm talking about. When I say event, these are online events. I mean, I'm not doing any in-person events. There's nothing wrong with that. You could do that. But for me specifically, I'm talking about LinkedIn events.
Yep.
We're then inviting, because we're drinking our own Kool-Aid here. So having said that, marketing, let's see here, I would say marketing and sales.
Uh-huh.
So one in sales, one in marketing, and one in let's see here, the partnerships.
Perfect. Okay, this is great. I love your, focus in two areas. 40 pennies you're spending in product, which is your service, 30 in the events, and then you're diversifying across sales, marketing, and partnership. But this is great. I would love for you to double click on events. You mentioned the LinkedIn live events. Tell our audience about what is live event and on LinkedIn, and what kind of traction are you getting to generate the pipeline?
Yeah, and I have to talk about the actual service. So because again, what we do for others is what we do for ourselves here. So it's a LinkedIn event. It's a little bit different than a LinkedIn Live.
Mhm.
And so it's more focused on the LinkedIn event. And the difference there is that, typically like when I've done these events, I'll have about 100 people. So we work the LinkedIn accounts to invite your ICP to the event. We're inviting my ICP to the events, and then having about 100 people sign up. And if you can have 25% of them, even 30% of them show up, that's really, really good.
Mhm.
Who actually show up, they've signed up for it, but 25 to 30% show up is a big deal. Usually it's 15 to 20%. So typically that's who we want. And the reason for that is because it gives you an opportunity to build your know, like, and trust factor much faster.
Sure.
So you're sharing some information, right? So it's educational marketing in a sense. However, the format that I follow is not a talking head format. It's not me or you, the founder, whatever, talking for the whole period of time. That's not the format. The format that I implement is more of a fireside chat approach. So I'm inviting a partner like yourself, for example, I'm inviting a customer, I'm having them share, okay, here's some of the best practices we're doing, maybe doing a little bit of educational information to set the context and framework up front, and then inviting feedback from partners and customers to share, okay, what's working for them, what are they doing, obviously within the, what we're doing, and then going from there. So that way people can hear from others, not just me or from whoever's presenting. They can hear from other people also what's working. So that's the format of the event. And then, of course, following up post-event to have one-on-one conversations with people to see, okay, do a little bit of discovery, see what makes sense, and then going from there.
That's awesome. That is awesome. This is great. Thank you for sharing the details. Now, let's take a look at how community has spent their 100 pennies. So this chart shows you hundreds of go-to-market leaders, and we have given them 100 pennies just like I gave to you. And this is the aggregate of the community spending their dollars, right? And I'm going to overlay your data on top of it, so that you can see the comparison. When you look at this chart, is there something that surprises you?
So when you say sales-led, maybe we should define that. When you said sales-led growth, what did you have in mind with that?
Yeah, so it's all about putting the BDRs and AEs investing in that, the traditional model where your BDRs are making the phone calls, they're setting up appointments, and they are building the pipeline. Your AEs are building the pipeline.
Yes. No, I mean, obviously we're doing some of that. I'm doing some of that myself, and I'm doing some of it. But in order to do that, I think you still need to have what I was thinking, and hence my emphasis on the product here, was that in order for them to be successful in what they're doing, you have to have something of value to offer. So if you don't have something of value that works to offer, then all that sales-led effort may not lead to anything positive, or it may not. It may lead to increased, turnover or churn. So that's the only reason why I say that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, Cesar, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with the community. I'm sure our community is going to find a lot of value in this. So thank you.
You're welcome.